So this is a HP laptop 15T-1100 that I got for free, and I don't know, I don't like to see computing stuff wasted. It's not very current, but it still could run Windows 10, and I could use it for something or give it away or sell it. And it'll boot, but it won't go into the BIOS. And so I have the means to program BIOS chips. So I went to HP's website, and they've deleted a lot of their old notebook drivers and BIOSes. And I mean, I don't know what their philosophy is. I mean, I've been screwed over so many times by HP. I would never buy another HP product. I swear. I bought my mom a really nice back in like 2008. I bought a really nice 17-inch notebook. It was custom. I think they called it CTO. And it had the best display you could get. It had the best video card, onboard video card for the notebook. It was stuffed full of RAM, had the best processor, best sound card, everything, best of everything you could get. I think it came from Japan or China. I don't know. I don't remember which. It was probably, maybe it was China. Probably China. Came directly from there. It didn't come from like anywhere in the continental United States. Took a while to get. I got it for Christmas. It was expensive. I mean, it was like over $2,000. And 2 years later, they end of life it. No drivers, no nothing. No, it's completely gone off their website. I mean, you can look at the motherboard and see the chips and get like go to Intel and get the drivers, but there's no BIOS. There's no, I don't know. It just, their philosophy for business is really bizarre. When you're in business, you work for the customer. It's not the other way around. And it's just, when I'm retired now, but when I worked IT, I worked for the largest contractor to the United States government in IT, and I was in charge of all the new notebooks. We got in hundreds and hundreds of HP notebooks. We had Dell first, and then they switched to HP, and they weren't bad. They weren't bad. But I don't know. Their tech support is completely different than Dell. Like Dell, you call them. You had to order a motherboard. You had to call Dell. You couldn't just order it. With HP, you had to take a certified test, and once you passed the test, you could order anything you wanted. And with HP, if you call their tech support, the guy, what I was asking, he just wouldn't do it. He couldn't do it or whatever, and he just said, "Too bad, so sorry, goodbye," and hung up. Which, if you call Dell was like, "Are you sure you're happy with today's service? Are you really sure? Are you really sure?" I mean, they really, and they went through some bad, when we had HP, I mean, when we had Windows XP, they had some bad, it wasn't really their fault, but what happened is if you didn't clean the the heat exchange for the processor, and it got clogged up with dust, it would actually get warm. The heat sink would actually get warm enough it would desolder the video processor. So we had a lot of motherboards. They'd be like split screen or artifacts on the screen or something like that, And they actually sent me 15 brand new motherboards to swap out. That's how much they appreciated our business. And HP takes it all for granted. They take everybody that buys a notebook from them, everybody that buys business laptops. It's all taken for granted, and a lot of it started with HP was when they did their split. They split their business networking from everything else, and we got to a point where it took like over a year to get a new motherboard, which was insane. When you got people that are relying on their notebook to do their job, and you can't get a motherboard. And then he started sending out bad motherboards, just to send something out because people are complaining you're not sending anything out. So they're sending bad motherboards. And some notebooks I swapped in and out three motherboards, and that takes my time, and they were all bad. And I started to realize that if you get a motherboard that has solder paste on the top of the processor, it's probably bad. But anyway, back to the Dell, they sent us like 15, it was either 10 or 15 brand new motherboards to swap out, whenever we got one of those with the bad, it was like the ball, what do they call, ball grid arrays that they use to solder their socketless processors. They don't have pins. They just have like a little solder point. I think they put a mask on there and they put these little balls of solder on there and solder paste, and then they remove the grid and then they heat it up and it solders the processor. And there's people that are putting the motherboards, the notebook motherboards, in the oven at like 450 degrees or hotter and reflowing the solder, but I couldn't do that. I mean, these are business notebooks. But anyway, so oh yeah, and we have even had HP printers, which HP printers were really good. I really liked them, and we got some that were, I forgot the model number. This is years, up to almost 4 years ago, and I had to jump through all kinds of hoops to get a replacement for this one of our administrative assistants for one of our big bosses. To get, they're not going to buy another printer. I mean, they have so much in their budget, and so they just bought the printer. It was just right out of warranty. And you could connect to it wirelessly, yeah, and print. But I mean, they said, well, you can still print wirelessly. And I said, that's unacceptable. They got to be able to connect to it with a USB cable and print. I forgot the reason why, but that's what they needed. And I had to talk to like 4 tiers of support to finally they sent out a new printer, and they had another model that something would happen to. I forgot what it was. We had 2 of those that went bad, and I think they had a little bit more money in their budget. I think they just bought 2 new printers. But never buy an HP product again. I mean, they're terrible. I mean, they're not a bad product. It's just they take the customer for granted. So anyway, back to installing this BIOS. So I got these BIOS chips from online. I got them from BIOS Depot on eBay. So it looks just like the chip on the motherboard. They sent me 2 of them. The guy said, well, it could be either one of the BIOSes. They sent me 2 chips. But he said, try the first one. That will be probably the one that it is. So that's the first one. So now I'm gonna desolder the BIOS and solder on the new one. So this is the BIOS chip, and you can see the pin number 1 is in the top left corner. Make sure I don't unsolder something else too. There's a real little capacitor right there. Accidentally lifted up a trace. See the bottom left one? I think I can just push it back down. It should be okay. So I'm going to put a little more solder on the pads. That looks really good. Bad part about using the acetone, I think it erases the markings on the chip. I think I had trouble with that with just about everything I used, whether it was alcohol or and the BIOS is back. Like I said, it's not really this fantastic of a notebook, but I mean, I could still put Windows 10 on, maybe even Windows 11, and use it for something. And, you know, previously I tried everything, all the resets I knew how to do, and, you know, removed the battery, but usually, you know, something will still come up on the screen, you know, like even if it's a password or it's password protected or something like that, you know, ask for a password. When I hit the F10 key on boot up or go through the boot screen options and stuff like that, and whenever I hit F10, I just got a blank screen. And like I said, I tried everything, and so I replaced the BIOS chip, and it's back. And as you can see, it's got 8,192 megabytes of RAM. So that's 8 gig, 8.192 gig. And actually, you know, this isn't too bad of a notebook. You know, it's just a shame that the way that HP does their customers, though. You know, but it's got 4 memory slots, which I don't know why they never did that in their business notebooks. I mean, that'd be so beneficial. I don't know why they didn't do that. But anyway, it has 4 memory slots. It's got 2 under the keyboard and then 2 accessible through the battery bay. And has 4 2 gigabyte RAM chips in there. And that's something that all notebook manufacturers do. You know, 4 gigabyte memory, 2 4 gigabyte memory chips cost less than 1 8 gigabyte. You know, it's not much, but you know, you figure you make, you know, a couple million of them. That's a couple $1,000,000. You know, or you know, after 50 cents, a dollar, it costs them a dollar, or costs them 50 cents more, and they make 2 million. That's $1 million they save. You know, so you know, so you have 2 4 gig. They advertise the laptop comes with 8 gig of RAM, and you get it. It's 2 4 gigs of RAM. And so you want to upgrade it to, let's say the max is 16 gig. So, you want to upgrade it. So you have 4 gigabytes of RAM. You have to scrap both of them unless you only want 12 gigabytes of RAM. But if you want the, 16, you got to buy two new 8 gigabytes of RAM instead of just buying one 8 gigabyte. But all the manufacturers do that, or at least most of them do it. You know, um, so it's back. I think I'm gonna put. I might try to load Windows 11. I have one of those workarounds where it will load Windows 11 on anything. I loaded it on my Lenovo 11E. It's really nice. I really like it. But then again, I just may put Windows 10 on this. I don't know. But it's all finished. Another job well done.